own.
Oh, that's why she's sexist and misogynistic. Like the campaign, I was like, I wonder what they're gonna say. Like, I wonder like why they're gonna say this. I thought like maybe they're gonna like, I don't know, grab a soundbite or something. Right. Now let's talk about let's talk about Kamala Harris being called out for sexist misogynist campaign.
Head out on a bus tour across the state of Georgia. And despite the latest polling showing that Trump is in the lead by a lot, look at that in the state of Georgia, Harris's campaign co-chair says that they think they still have a path to victory.
Did you cover the French coup? Are you joking? You're kidding me, right? There's no way you're being for real right now. Thank you. That is the first question you've answered, lol. Wait, what? That's not the first question I've answered. I answer people's questions all the time. And also, this is the most, what is happening right now?
In the Peach State.
We really think that we have a chance to win to Georgia, and they're going to compete there in a very hard way. And we're going to make Donald Trump defend every ounce of ground in America.
So here to react is Fox News contributor and host of Here's the Deal on Fox Nation, Kellyanne Conway. Hey, Kellyanne.
Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning. I know there's 7 important swing states, and Donald Trump has to win Georgia and North Carolina. The votes can be a combo of the other states if he wins these 2. Kamala's campaign is saying that they think they have a chance in Georgia, and we know Kemp and Trump, they're united now. What do you think? Do they have a chance?
Likely not, but we take every vote in every swing state seriously. On the R side, this is 16 electoral votes. President Trump won the state by 5 points in 2016, and that was followed by 2 governor's races, 2018 and 2022, where Brian Kemp, the sitting governor, beat Stacey Abrams despite her very successful effort to register hundreds of thousands of new voters. And I think that helped in 2020, even when she wasn't on the ballot. Look, this is very simple. Governor Kemp was on Hannity last week. President Trump followed it up with an immediate social media post. They're burying the hatchet. They're working together to get those 16 electoral votes. I don't understand why Kamala Harris just took 5 days off, I guess a little staycation in between the convention and campaigning. She just took 5 days off between Thursday and Tuesday, and now she's showing up with Tim Walz in Georgia. Meanwhile, Trump and Vance have their own separate schedules. Vance will be in Erie, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin on his own. That's what you want to do. You want to focus on those 21 counties, a few of which are in Georgia. 7 swing states, Ainsley, but 21 counties. So in Georgia, they now have voter ID for absentee ballots. That's required. Georgia does a fantastic job of taking the early vote, having it ready to go, and then laying it over the day of vote, calculating and telling us, voila, who the winner is on the actual day. I think that's incredibly.
I'm going to give Kaya this massive bone called a slammer bone that was a birthday gift. I think I'm going to do it today. Look at her face. This is a massive bone. It's crazy how big this bone is. I don't even know how she's going to tackle this. I don't know what kind of bone this is. Dog chew beef bone. It's a beef bone. Okay. I'm trying to open it without. She's watching intently because this is the craziest thing that she's ever eaten in her life. Oh yeah. Look at this. It's one of those, well, that was anticlimactic. Yeah, I think it's like one of those things where it's too good to be true. You know what I mean? She's being demure. She has option paralysis. Yeah, she's being demure. No, it's because she's demure. All right, she's tackling it. Very, very mindful, very demure.
Important. This is all about knocking on doors, canvassing, making sure that the voter rolls are clean, election integrity. I think Brian Kemp and his team have done a great job on that. And then it's, of course, President Trump. He's out there. He's been going to Georgia. He and J.D. Vance are in Georgia. You have to show up, and they are doing the work in the swing states. They're giving local print, radio, and television interviews. Those can last full on a week when you're running for president and vice president. People appreciate you touching them close to home.
Yeah, I saw one of his latest ads where she's saying, oh, prices are so high at the grocery store. And then the next clip is, but we love Bidenomics. It's so successful. Then she complains about another price. But we love Bidenomics. She's flip-flopping. She's changing her policies, we think, according to her campaign and background. But we don't really know what her policies are. And now Axios is reporting that there's possibly not enough time for her. Her campaign is saying there might not be enough time to release these policies. And Donald Trump is saying she's trying to change the debate rules, even though they've already agreed. Listen to this.
No.
Do we have that soundbite of Donald Trump? Here it is.
Keep the same rules. Now all of a sudden they want to make a change in the rules because she can't answer questions. Why doesn't she do a couple of question answer. Why doesn't she do something like I'm doing right now? She can't talk. The truth.
Wait, what do you mean? No, she does do that. She does campaign stops, and I guess like the thing that but she doesn't do media. She doesn't have press at the campaign stops or respond to press
is
usually.
they're trying to get out of it because she doesn't want to debate.
How do you interpret
Not the bomb me speech again, bro. Don't even bring that up right now, dude. Oh my God, I'm so hungry.
it, Kellyanne?
Well, there's no question that they don't trust Kamala Harris enough to speak regularly. This is amazing to me. They're so excited about a woman, and the sexist and misogynist at her campaign aren't allowing the woman to travel alone or speak on her own.
Oh, that's why she's sexist and misogynistic. Like the campaign, I was like, I wonder what they're gonna say. Like I wonder like why they're gonna say this. I thought like maybe they're gonna like, I don't know, grab a soundbite or something. Oh, they're just straight up saying the campaign is sexist and misogynistic because she's just, you know, she's not campaigning alone.
Extemporaneously to members of the media. Have a town hall. Don't be afraid to take questions.
I feel like this is not a good angle from the Republicans. No, it's not. It's a very bad angle. By the way, is your stream tagged as gambling? I used the content filter to remove gambling streams and your stream didn't show up in my feed. Remove the filter and now everything is good again. No, that's kind of funny that if Twitch was like filtering me as a gambling stream, that'd be pretty hilarious. Maybe a anti-gambling stream. Yeah.
They can make it as friendly as the pep rally that was the Democratic convention if they want to. But free Kamala already. Let her out. Let us hear from her. And Ainsley, it's, you know, let's get past the laughs and the gaffes and get serious here. When she does tell us what her vision are, what her vision is, when she does promise these policies, that's when she gets truly frightening. 65% estate and death tax. That's going to decimate family businesses up and down this country. 44% on capital gains, and then the unrealized gains being taxed. Donald Trump is preparing for dates every single day
I'm gonna nut. Oh God. Every time they talk about, I wish Kamala talked more about these policies because goddamn. Please give me anything.
Doing things like he does yesterday, facing the cameras, showing everybody the real people impact at the border of the grocery and gas prices. And she's not doing it. Let me tell you something. If you're not practicing those muscles, if you don't have that muscle memory for debates, you can't just show up and have people stuff your head with.
By the way, the unrealized gains and death tax are only for people with a net worth over 100 mil. Yeah, but that hasn't stopped the Republicans from actively changing that for and making it seem like every single American is going to be impacted by this. The other one is not even for 100 mil. I think it's for literally for $1 billion, right? Isn't it for billionaires? The 46% is for not 100 millionaires, billionaires, if I'm not mistaken, which is crazy with a B. If Kamala talks about those policies, Macron will stop her. No, I think it's 100 mil. Okay. The unrealized capital gains thing. It's going to hurt those mom and pop businesses who have over 100 million in unrealized gains. Yeah, exactly. Bro, when they nuked the death tax, which by the way is a right-wing framing on an estate tax, okay? Because when you say estate tax, most people are like, well, I don't have an estate. What are you talking about? But when you say death tax, you're like, well, I die and I want to make sure the government doesn't take my right? Back in the day, the estate tax was literally capturing like 15,000 total people in the country. Okay. 15,000, if I remember the numbers correctly. It's so funny because hedge funds take 20% of unrealized capital gains as fees at the end of the year. Now they're all pretending that doing the same thing for taxes will collapse the economy. Yeah. Anyway, it's ridiculous.
Joe Biden didn't just lose that debate 2 months ago. Donald Trump won it. And he can do that again against Kamala Harris.
I hear she's prepping a lot. Really quickly, is Donald Trump prepping?
He preps every day. You see him out there. He faces the music. He's talking about policy.
Funny is estate tax is some ancient mummy tomb. Dude, it's even funnier. It's like the slaves advocating to make sure that the Pharaoh takes all of the slaves to the tomb with him. Okay? That is the beautiful part about American politics, is that we have somehow been able to make it so that like the peasants and the slaves are the ones who are like, no, you don't understand. Like the Pharaoh has to bury me. Okay.
I think the last 10 days have been remarkable for Trump and Vance. They're out there with these themes in the swing states, talking about policy, crime, the border, inflation, economy, foreign policy. That's the way you prepare. He doesn't need the lighting and the camera angles. He does policy time with lots of people, but he's been doing this, and the debates are his sweet spot.
We know his policies. We don't know hers. All right, the debate, maybe that's when we'll get some answers. Thank you so much.
Yeah, murdering every migrant. You know, good, cool policies like that. Just cool. The Florida landlord, but it's on my unrealized landlord gains. Yeah. You don't get it. My buddy that makes $20K a year doesn't want the rich to get taxed because it will be him one day. You are out of touch. Beautiful stuff overall. Trump had casted doubt over participation in September debate against Harris, but this is old news now. He is going to be doing the debate. It's official. What is this? Brilliant post from the stalwart. Many who are complaining loudest about the idea of taxing unrealized gains charge their clients performance fees based on, yes, unrealized gains. Stupid question, maybe. But if I'm an investor in a hedge fund, do I just pay the performance fees when I cash out, or do the hedge fund managers collect their annual 20% take, even if my gains are unrealized? I think taxing unrealized gains would be an administrative nightmare, and abolishing a stepped-up basis rule would be a better path to ensuring the hyper-rich pay taxes. But it is funny to see people who charge fees based on unrealized gains say it's wrong to tax unrealized gains. Chatter, you are stealing my takes by just finding someone else on Twitter who said the same thing. I mean, it doesn't matter. I also read your take as well, Central Committee, and gave you props for it. The difference is that is an agreement I voluntarily accept, and this guy is not a hedge fund guy. You do not have enough assets. You do not have minimum $250,000 in liquid in cash to go and give your money to a hedge fund. Why are you LARPing? I hate these idiots, dude. The difference is that that's an agreement I voluntarily accept. And if I don't like that arrangement, I can negotiate something else. No, you can't. No, you can't. You cannot go to a hedge fund and be like, actually, I don't like 20%. How many billions are you dumping to a hedge fund that you have that kind of leverage when you talk to any hedge fund? You can't do that. You're just LARPing, you idiot. The funniest part of this conversation being had on Twitter is that not a single one of these have enough money to actually work with a hedge fund. They are literally LARPing, okay? They're just LARPing, which is so crazy. Bro, you are not him. Why? Why are you saying these things? This is not about you. And you're saying these things in an effort to defend something that you will never have to worry about. Okay? You will never, ever, ever have to worry about this. Okay? You think I'm one of the richest people on the planet? I don't have to ever worry about this. Okay? This is not a conversation about you or me. Okay? What an insane thing. What a silly thing. As a tax accountant, this wouldn't be hard. Every client I have gets 2 documents at the end of the year. One is a 1099-B, which contains tax information at the end of your statement, which has all the unrealized gains. All these brokerages calculate unrealized gains and have the data. They just don't provide it. They just currently don't provide it on the 1099-B. You're too rich to be speaking on this topic. That's the funniest part about this conversation is that, while I am significantly richer than the average person on Twitter chirping about this, it's still, I'm nowhere near that level, okay? And not only that, but I have no issues with increasing my tax burden anyway. That's the funniest part about this conversation. I used to work at a hedge fund. It's wild because hedge funds aren't taking private investors unless they have millions. Yes, the floor for the worst hedge fund is $250,000, okay? $250,000. If you don't have $250,000 that you can just fling in the direction of a hedge fund, no hedge fund is going to take you on as a private investor. So why are people even having this conversation? You're not even on the floor level, dude. You will never be. It's so wild. It's so wild to me that people carry water for these wealthy billionaires and 100 millionaires. And it blows my mind because dude, I'm going to tell you right now, okay? The very fact that you currently, in your current financial circumstances, are advocating against your self-interest, against your best interest, implies that you probably don't even have what it takes to get to that level, okay? Right off the jump. At least when you're broke, advocate for broke boy policies, you know? You think billionaires don't advocate for themselves? You think they got there by being like, oh, well, one day I'll be rich? No, dude. No. It's called a slippery slope. Why can't we ask about it though? Could be coming for us. Dude, ain't nobody's coming for your busted ass 1999 Honda Civic. That's the only thing that you have that you could consider to be an asset. No one is coming for that. They can't. What are they going to do with it? What's the government going to do with your Honda Civic? Your hand-me-down Volkswagen Jetta is not going to be seized by the government. Okay? Shut the up. It's a slippery slope. If we start taxing fucking billionaires, they're going to tax me next. You make 35 grand a year. What the f is this to you? It blows my mind, dude. This is what I mean. It's like peasant brain. Holy, I guess as just the reporter, you don't understand basic history of government. Let me help you. Once a new tax or rule is implemented, it only grows. It only grows. Are you sure about that? Highest federal margin individual income tax rate. It only goes down. Okay. That's the hilarity of the situation. It doesn't only grow. It goes down. It has only gone down since the 50s. But how? But of course, the other side of this equation that is also endlessly frustrating is the fact that these people think like a 40% top marginal tax rate, for example, or a 90% top marginal tax rate as it was like, you know, in the 40s and 50s means 90% of your entire net worth is going to be taken by the government because they don't understand how marginal tax rates work. It is mind-boggling to try and have a conversation with people who don't even understand like the basics of how tax brackets work. And people like Ben Shapiro who know better, like Ben Shapiro's not an idiot. He knows what tax brackets are. He knows how that works. Okay. But it doesn't matter. He knows his audience is too stupid to recognize it. So he just lies to them. That's why it's always funny when people are like, actually, a person that's about to like move up on the tax bracket would then choose not to move up on the tax bracket. It's like, no, dude, that's not how that works. Okay. The only time you can make an argument for that is when social safety nets like Medicare and Medicaid, specifically Medicaid, are actually cooking people who are just poor enough to be eligible, but also now just a little over the eligibility limit. That's the only time where this makes sense. And the solution to that is universal programs. Okay. That's the only time where that actually is a problem for people. And that's someone who is unfortunately too poor to even ever have this conversation. Okay. Beyond that, there is no world where tax brackets actually are so, like in a progressive tax structure, tax brackets are so bad that like you don't want to make more money year over year because the government's going to take more of your income. Like they don't knock you down a tax bracket by taxing you too much. That's not how this works. Okay. It's so stupid. Read my last message regarding the hedge fund guy. Like I deadass used to hear people in the break room at hedge fund I was at talk about climate change, wars, etc. And they're like verbatim, I'll be long dead before it matters, so I'm going to make my money now in the meantime, or my kids won't be going to war. I don't care. Being in a hedge fund radicalized me into being a leftist, and it was you who made me realize that. No longer at a hedge fund for those people. Hell yeah. I don't believe in taxing unrealized gains. Will stifle growth for people who own a unicorn company. They don't have a lot of cash, but have a lot of equity. I think having that wonderful hypothetical in like 2016 is one thing, but doing that right now in the heat of 2024, after interest rates went up and entirely destroyed sectors that were hyper reliant on free money because they had nothing, is hilarious. Okay. It's hilarious to say this right now when all of these unicorns are flailing. Also, do you know why they're called unicorns? A thing that doesn't exist in the real world? Because it's unlikely that a company will get there. Like endlessly unlikely. And usually the only reason why they become that is because of deregulation. Oh ya adam hala socialized medicine diyor. Sanırsın herkese gerekli gereksiz yarım doz insülin verilecek. Bu Amerikalılar salağın önde giden abi. Imagine the tax brackets as buckets and your income is water. If you fill one bucket up with your water, you move to your next bucket until you run out of water. What you don't do is take your previously filled buckets and dump them into the higher tax bracket bucket. Yeah, but I don't think that's going to be, even that's too complicated for many to understand, in my opinion. Nah, that's still a stupid ass take. Even if you're a unicorn company, you haven't even IPO'd yet. I doubt you'd even be factored to an unrealized gains tax. No, if you've IPO'd, then you're already cashed out. I love how I had this conversation today at work with one person that thinks she will lose money if she earns more. It's mind boggling. Yeah, dude, there is nothing more frustrating than an average American. There's nothing more frustrating than the average American who just like fundamentally does not understand what this, how tax bracket work them on this issue, but they're so self-assured where they literally think they're going to make less money after making more money. Okay. It doesn't, Republicans are substantially less likely to understand how marginal tax rates work. Suppose that your income put you at the very top of the 28% tax bracket and you earn $1 more such that you were now in the 33% tax bracket. Your tax bill would go up. Always cracks me up that the USA Today once published his tax tip with a straight face. In USA Today's original item, one tip said that raise actually might not be as good as it looks. The extra money is nice, but it could very well bump you into the next tax bracket, possibly leaving you with less money than you had before the raise. Like that's not a thing. Like this is not a real thing. The only time where you could be phased out of certain programs is if you're really poor, okay? And some aspects of welfare are you get kicked off of some aspects of welfare. Okay, that's it. That's it. There's no other world where you make less by making more. Okay? That's not how this, it's physically impossible. It is like literally impossible for you to make more money, okay? And your take-home pay is less at the end of the year because you just get kicked into the next tax bracket. That's not how it works because it's after that dollar value that you've passed over that they tax you on. Depends on spending? No. Like, what do you mean depends on spending? It happened to me, but I jumped from being super poor to being in the next tax bracket. It's rare though, and overall raises are good, obviously. Exactly. The only time your chat is too broke to understand tax brackets. No, it's actually the brokest who understand tax brackets better than anybody else because those are the only people who actually could get cooked if they do get a raise. Like there is definitely a barrier at the lower end of tax brackets where you might get kicked out of certain aspects of the welfare state that you were relying on for survival. So the ultimate amount of like assistance plus like your take home pay could be reduced because your assistance is taken away from you. That's it. You could have your healthcare taken away from you. You could lose your SNAP benefits. Yeah. The only way that could happen is if there's a top tax bracket where you are, your tax rate is 101%. Okay. Which would be really funny. Like a 101% tax rate. That's the only way that is how that would happen, which of course is not a real thing. That has never happened and it will never happen. What the I'm from Poland and I swear you wouldn't pass first year of high school without understanding that. America is terrifying for not getting this. Dude, like I'm telling you, tens of millions, if not 100 million plus Americans don't understand that. Like it's not even a joke. Like there are right now, as it stands, 100 million plus Americans who don't understand this, like this just basic function of how progressive taxation works. And these are like intelligent people otherwise as well, which is so crazy. We're in the income tier where if we have a good year, it means less health insurance, marketplace subsidies, tax credits, and our income-based student loans increase. Yeah, that's the only time. That is the only time where like doing better might cook you. Okay, that's it. It's not worth talking about. It's too rare. Wait, what? How does this incorrect math get pushed around? Right-wing media overall, not just Fox News, but like liberal media as well, that is representing the interests of their corporate constituents, their corporate beneficiaries, will routinely lie. That's why we just showed you the USA Today article that had to be corrected. Like, that's how it works. Here, yeah, the other side of this. The reach of estate tax is at a historic low. Share of total estates owing federal estate tax, 0.8%. In 2012, it like, guys, at its peak, okay, since the 80s, at its peak in like 1996, the share of total estates owing federal estate tax was not even 2.5%. Like, how many people do you know? Anyway, former Dem helping Trump prepare for Harris debate. That is, of course, we are, of course, talking about the person that obviously endorsed Donald Trump recently, Tulsi Gabbard.
All right. Meanwhile, the Trump and Harris campaigns are battling over debate rules as the candidates head to key swing states this week.
Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy joins us live from the White House. Hey, Peter.
And a familiar name that we can talk about this morning, Tulsi Gabbard. She had the sharpest lines of attack against then Senator Harris on the debate stages in 2020. She is now helping Donald Trump prepare for his debate with Harris behind the scenes, and she is officially joining his effort to beat her.
It's not about Democrats versus Republicans.
Right.
It's about having a president who stands for freedom, peace, and prosperity, which is Donald Trump, versus having a president in Kamala Harris who attacks our freedoms and censors us and uses political retaliation, who has pushed us to the brink of war, and who's created this economic hardship for Americans across the country.
The Harris campaign is showing their hand in terms of priorities, visiting just one battleground state this week, but for 2 days, Georgia. Trump has Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania ahead before the weekend, as a very unlikely celebrity is coming forward saying they hope Joe Biden does something that Trump did. Kim Kardashian has posted on X. Last week, I had the opportunity to visit the Department of Justice. She goes on to say, I hope President Biden takes the opportunity to make clemency a significant part of his legacy before he leaves office. Hashtag clemency now. President Biden has been joking before he went on vacation that he will campaign for or against Harris, whatever she thinks would help. It seems that the calculation, at least for now, has been made that he should just stay out of it. Back to you.
Which he's doing a good job at. And Peter, speaking of clemency, the conventional wisdom is Joe Biden will pardon his son, Hunter, after the election, right?
Well, that depends if you believe what Joe Biden and all of his top officials have said, which is that he will not, under any circumstances, pardon Hunter Biden.
Go ahead.
It's a big
He's
but.
only going to have the power of clemency and the pardon until January. So he definitely could. It's not like he's never done anything that he, contrary to what he's said. But it's possible. Another thought about this, it is possible that he just has it worked out with Kamala Harris. Something like, I'll endorse you, but if something comes down when you're the president, I need you to let him go.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got to get convicted again. He's got some in September or not, get exonerated.
I bet that was part of the deal. I will step down if you endorse, I'll endorse you, Kamala. Kamala has to be the nominee, and Kamala, you have to promise me that you're going to pardon my son. Or if she doesn't win in November, then he'll pardon him before he steps down.
Remember, James Comer wraps up his investigation. He said, by the way, there's $27 million that flowed to the Biden family now that the Bidens are flowing right out of the White House. It is kind of amazing, before we get into this, how many Biden officials are now Kamala Harris officials, just like that. The same people telling us that Joe is fine, he's going to be great, we're going to win the re-election. Now it's like, I work for the other person, right? Well, is anyone in the White House at all? Yeah. Do they even have someone to vacuum?
And he's on vacation again for the second week in a row.
Right.
Bro, you can't be pro-Trump and then complain about Joe Biden vacationing, okay? Like, you can't do that. What do you mean? Like, I'm not libbed up by any means, but, like, that was golfing every goddamn day of the week. Like, what are we talking about, dude? That's crazy. Bro, they're just making it up and reporting it as news. That's crazy, Lamau. Is it? Is it that crazy? It is Fox News. They do that a lot. Like, that's kind of all they do. How many times has President Trump played golf? Daytime visits a golf club since inauguration with evidence of playing golf on at least 142 visits as of November 8, 2020. He made 285 total visits to the golf clubs. Trump on average golf once every 5.6 days. 2017, when things were good. COVID really him up, though. Look at this. Only 47. He had to do those pressers. And I did not grow up here. Was American media never, ever objective and unbiased? No. I showed this data to my dad and he said, we on the right don't trust Wikipedia anymore. I was like, there are sources. Dude, listen, the more you go down the right-wing rabbit hole, the less you will rely on data, okay? That's it. Because reactionary sentiment has nothing to do with like actual evidence, empirical evidence. Like, it's just vibes based, okay? It's all vibes all the way up and down. That's it. You can't reason with a person that is like doing that. I mean, this also kind of goes back to the argument that we were making about the tax margins or the tax brackets. Like, you might be shocked to find out that, like, you know, there are hundreds of millions of Americans who genuinely don't understand what, like, basic tax brackets work and actually think that if they make more, they're going to end up making less because the government's going to take away more of their money, not realizing that all of that directly goes to the top of the hour ad break avoidance fee. Okay? That's why I'm an advocate for obviously lower taxes in general, because I want your take home pay to at least have $6 additional every month so that you can, at the top of the hour, avoid the incoming 3-minute ad break by subscribing for $6. Now, if you don't have the $6, maybe you have an Amazon Prime account that you can connect to your Twitch account and get one free Prime subscription that you can use on your favorite broadcaster. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. My dude, people don't even know what their own politics are. My dad says he's a moderate but simultaneously advocates for executing landlords. I'm not joking. That's awesome. Whenever I show my MAGA coworker data, he just says, look around you, crime everywhere, fentanyl, etc. That's awesome. Oh, my husband has gone down the right-wing rabbit hole and he no longer trusts data and studies released by the CDC and government. He thinks all the countries and government workers are all in on covering up real data. I don't know how to save him from, oh no. That sucks, chatter. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know if there's a way to save that. Like,
what's interesting is
our
that
country is running itself.
that circle of people around Joe Biden who've right up until the debate said, you know, go for it. You're the only person who can beat Trump. It's like, you're fantastic. You're great. Wow, we saw that show. Get out. We're going to work for her.
Right.
It was that quick.
They never acknowledge it. They just pop up representing somebody else.
Well, it works.
All right, let's talk about the thing that's most important to Americans, and that is the economy.
Identify what is making him so angry and like try to fix that, you know, because there's usually some other reason. Usually there's like a separate reason that makes these people so resentful and angry. And if you can like identify it and try to offer like a reasonable solution to that, potentially they will move beyond. You know, you gotta help people be more confident in themselves. That's it. There's not really much else you can do, especially when someone is like, the CDC data is lying to us. Man, that's sad.
Economy. And if you look at some of the stats about what means the most, the Fox News poll, the top issue of the day, in February, 37% of you said the economy. Now, 38% say it's not going away.
Harris and Walls are doing CNN interviews 9 p.m. Thursday, just announced. Let's go, baby. We're back. We're back. Dana Fash is doing a Harris and Walls sit-in with CNN for exclusive first joint interviews since the campaign began. Oh my God, I'm gonna nut. Yeah, you can't use logic to get someone out of a position they didn't use logic to get themselves into. Yeah. By the way, it extends the crime data in San Francisco where crime is down. The right-wing response is, well, yeah, because no one bothers reporting to the police anymore since nothing ever gets done. And then you ask them for actual data to back up this claim. They have none. So you literally cannot deal with that at any point. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's Jank. Jank said that. Jank says that. He said that to me. It's Unc logic. As Trump claims ABC debate rules agreed on to definitely include muted mics, same as CNN debate, Harris' campaign suggests otherwise. Both candidates have publicly made clear their willingness to debate with unmuted mics for the duration of the debate to fully allow for substantive exchanges between the candidates. But it appears Donald Trump is letting his handlers overrule him. Sad, spokesman Amar Musa said in a statement. Larry Krasner is overseeing the largest decrease in homicides in the country right now. By the way, good luck convincing Crime Panic Andes, though. I know. It's like, how did that happen? Where they tried to undemocratically overthrow the woke George Soros DA, Larry Krasner, and he didn't go away. And literally homicides are down 43% in Philadelphia. 43. It was the only aspect of crime that actually had gone up. Unless you literally think that they're just not reporting murders anymore. How the f do you agree? Like, how? The other aspect of like the crime that I keep seeing over and over again that I'm shocked that I never actually even brought up is like when people go, oh, dude, in California, it's like under $900. It's not shoplifting laws in California mean that like it's a misdemeanor crime and punishable up to 6 months in county jail and $1,000. Here, Post falsely claims shoplifting goods worth less than $900 is not a crime in California. Okay, this is of course fake. Several U.S. companies have closed stores in major cities. By the way, I love the fact check also having false statements. Several U.S. companies have closed stores in major cities as organized retail theft continues to eat into profits. That's not why they closed retailers. They lied. That was a lie. You're literally doing a fact check on one lie while repeating another lie. Except here's another part of the story that is also stupid. Other states, including red states, have higher numbers than $900. Shoplifting is a misdemeanor. According to the American States Penal Code, shoplifting applies to stolen goods with a maximum value of $950. Okay? Except, let's look at shoplifting laws in Texas. Penalties for shoplifting in Texas. Texas Penal Code classifies shoplifting as either a misdemeanor or felony offense. The following is a breakdown of shoplifting crimes and punishments. Shoplifting is a Class C misdemeanor when the property value is taken under $100. Class C misdemeanors are punishable by a fine up to $500. So again, you know, it's nothing. Shoplifting is a Class B misdemeanor when the property value taken is more than $100 but less than $750. Class B misdemeanors are punishable up to a fine up to $2,000 and 180 days in jail. Shoplifting is a Class A misdemeanor when the property value is taken is $750 or more but less than $2,500. So technically, in the state of Texas, the misdemeanor categorization is higher than the state of California. Okay? Do you want to know what else? Do you want to know what else is considered under the Texas Penal Code to be a Class C misdemeanor? Butt sex. Okay? Having gay sex. If a person commits an offense, in the state of Texas, if he engages in deviant sexual intercourse with another individual of the same sex, or B, an offense under this is under this section is a Class C misdemeanor. Sodomy. Why not highlight Texas in the same way? Because to support more deregulation and privatization overall to where theft propaganda isn't worth the Jews. So the idea that these states, California made crime legal, all of that it is entirely, okay? You sure? Source, the sodomy one? There you go. Texas Penal Code 21.6, homosexual conduct. A person commits an offense if he engages in deviant sexual intercourse with another individual of the same sex. Deviate, not deviant. I don't know what that means. No, it's not deviant, it's deviate. So why are penalties so low for these crimes? In Australia, we have similar laws which allow people to just constantly shoplift because it's not that big of a deal, okay? That's the real reason. It's an infinitely larger burden on the legal system if they were to prosecute such things, okay? It's not as big as a burden on, this law was repealed in 2023. Oh, wait, was it? That statute was made unconstitutional, so it's literally just on the books and literally cannot be prosecuted. It's quite literally just a vice signal. That is all. Anyway, point is, I didn't know that it was declared unconstitutional. Okay, the point is, it is not that big of a burden because that's not the moral fabric that holds society together, okay? Like, people don't engage in criminal conduct specifically because the law stops them from doing so, okay? It's not the age of consent that stops people from minors. It's the fact that you're not a freak that stops you from minors, unless, you know, you're attempting to minors as a popular former Twitch streamer, now YouTube streamer, okay? Like, it's not the law that stops people. That doesn't narrow it down, I know. Oh, now watch the old millennial make a rage bait TikTok. I'm losing my goddamn mind on this, though. Anyway, I hope that this helps clarify certain things. Again, in the state of Texas, the upper limit for what constitutes shoplifting, that still is a misdemeanor, is literally higher than the state of California. The state of California is $900. State of Texas is $2,500. Okay? But you don't ever hear about Texas making crime legal. Just like in the state of California, the upper limit being $900 wasn't a new phenomenon. It's been around. It's stupid. But it doesn't really matter. The truth doesn't matter. The truth does not matter. All right, let's continue. Speaking on how the truth doesn't fucking matter, let's go.
And this is the key within the subset
Fox
is inflation. News. It is lower than it was, obviously, when it was high in 2022, right, but it's still 3% above. The prices are now 20% above where they were, food prices, when Joe Biden took over. Keep in mind with inflation, it's only going up 3% instead of 9%. Inflation might be going down, but the price of goods is still up.
Right, and when you look at that mountain right there.
Yeah, of course the price of goods is still up. It would be deflation if the prices of goods went down. And in certain sectors, deflation is a necessity, okay? But like, if there was mass deflation, you'd be in a panic.
With that blue line right there, what happened at that point? That was when all that federal money was coming into the economy, and that's what caused the inflation to spike up over north of 9%. And who was the person who broke the tie in the Senate to make sure that the American Rescue Plan went through?
Yes.
She absolutely did. It was
Harris.
50-50. Kamala Harris said, okay, I'm going to pass that. Then she also broke the tie when it came to the 2022 and 2023 fiscal year spending budgets, which pumped more spending into the economy, causing the inflation that we're talking about. So she has got her fingerprints on inflation.
Well, it's interesting because Politico has a new piece that came out this morning. Can I just vote for her instead of Biden? And it talks about the Kamala Harris campaign trying to scramble to get the Hispanic vote. And they thought that she would be able to recover after Biden when it came to the border and all of that. Well, it comes to find out that the number one issues for Latinos and Hispanic Americans is the economy.
Of course.
And she's struggling on that issue, and they're not rallying behind her. So whatever group you're talking about in the country, Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, white Americans, everyone is struggling right now, Ainsley.
Well, Axios is reporting that her campaign is now saying they might not have enough time to release her policies. The reason she doesn't want her policies released is because her campaign is saying she's flip-flopping past voting record, including no fracking. The list goes on and on of things that she wants to take away, or did want to take away your health insurance plan. Now she's big on the border. She was never big on the border. You see the inflation rates. That was under the Biden-Harris administration. And now Trump is going after her for all these expensive items in the grocery store, how high gas prices are. She can't defend herself because she, over the past few years, has been touting Bidenomics. Look at Trump's latest campaign ad.
Everyday prices are too high. Food, rent, gas, back to school clothes. That is called Biden.
Aren't they basically saying that inflation is slow, but the cost of goods haven't gone down yet, meaning food suppliers or retailers are keeping the prices up? Well, it depends. What they're saying is that while inflation has obviously went down, the prices of food have stayed up, which is, of course, like, that is what happens. Inflation means prices are still going up. It's just by a much more manageable rate. That's how this works. If you want to lower prices for certain goods without deflating the economy in its entirety, okay, then you need to do certain things. One of those could be instituting price caps, for example, or going after price gougers in the way that Kamala Harris claimed she was going to do. Okay, I very much like that personally. There is not a single consumer good that Americans enjoy that isn't heavily subsidized by the American government, okay, by taxpayer dollars. So if they were to not play ball, you could shut that faucet off, okay? You're about to run headlong into another thing that's like the tax brackets. Americans think inflation is down means goods cost the same as they did before inflation, when it actually means they're still getting more expensive, just not as quickly. I know. This is another thing that people don't understand. The problem is they don't know what causes inflation. They don't want to acknowledge that many things contribute to inflation. They just want to say government spending equals inflation equals bad. This is a good example. For 5 years, I've been gaining weight every year by a rate of 10 pounds. But this year, my weight gain decreased to 2 pounds. So why am I still 242 pounds? Exactly. You didn't lose weight. You just managed your weight gain.
Economics.
Bidenomics.
And he goes on to say, you know, she's saying she's trying to divorce herself from it. They tie her to it. Now, Harris comes back, and she's talking about this is her version of how she's strong in the economy. Watch.
When I am elected president, I will make it a top priority to bring down costs. I will fight to give money back to working and middle-class Americans.
So why hasn't she made it a top priority up until this point?
Exactly. And then if you look at the full ad, when she goes after Donald Trump, she doesn't have any of his words. She just puts photos of him in that ad. Right. Whereas in Donald Trump's ad, he highlights her words. That just shows you they have nothing to run against him when it comes to economy. They can steal his ideas, but they can't use his words and say, okay, he's going to get rid of Medicare and all. They say that in the ad, but they have no quote or any video of him saying he's going to get rid of Medicare.
But here's what I want to hear. She says she's going to make everything more affordable. That's the theme, affordability. And in fact, that 1 minute everyday ad, they're going to start running in battleground states right now. $150 million ad buy. They raised $500 million in 5 weeks, so they got plenty of money to spend. But here's the thing. That's my point, Ainsley. She talks about how I'm going to make things more affordable, but she doesn't explain how. And if she would explain how, then people would go, okay, I think that's a good idea or a bad idea. But by keeping it broad and vague, then it's like, well, she said she was going to make things more affordable. I'm just going to trust her.
But once she says how, many people are going to say, why the delay? Why not start now then?
Only 29% of registered voters say that they're doing better than they were under Biden. 64%, that's 2 out of 3, say they are worse off. Independents strongly disagree, saying 20% said they are better off under Biden. Only 21%. 71% wish they had Trump economy back. That's independents. So that's obviously what Trump wants to be talking about now, and he's proud of what he did. The only thing that she has brought out is she brought out price controls. It didn't go over well. She also brought out cracking down on gouging. That didn't go over well because, yeah, that's how she pronounces it. And also the other thing she brought up is on housing, which is an interesting approach. I am going to incentivize the building of 2 million homes.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Lee.
And I mean,
joining us now is Tulsi Gabbard, former.
Let's see why Tulsi Gabbard is endorsing Donald Trump. And it has nothing to do with the fact that she is a charlatan, a grifter, a right-wing hack, a person who is mostly preoccupied with being a Fox News commentator. No, not at all. I'm sure there are very good reasons for why she did this. After all, she is my anti-imperialist hero, my icon. Classic.
2020 Democrat presidential candidate and Fox News contributor. Tulsi, you were there today along with President Trump. How important was it for him to be there today?
You know, one thing that ran through my mind as I was there joining President Trump and honoring the ultimate sacrifice that these 13 service members paid, sharing the sorrow that these Gold Star families still feel and will always feel at the loss of their loved ones. Meanwhile, where is Kamala Harris? Where is Joe Biden? Well, Joe Biden's on vacation, and Kamala Harris is running a campaign based on joy and vibes and laughing her way around. I can tell you who wasn't laughing were those families, some of the survivors of that attack in this disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. This is personal for me, Judge, and so many other Americans who know firsthand the cost of, we've seen and experienced it firsthand. We know how important it is to have a commander-in-chief who values every single one of our lives and who has the strength and the courage to exercise all means of diplomacy, meeting with dictators, allies, adversaries, partners in the pursuit of peace, recognizing that is always and should always be a last resort. I endorse President Trump today because he has those qualities and he's proven that he is that commander-in-chief. Kamala Harris has proven she is not. We're closer to the brink of nuclear now than ever before, closer to World War III because of Harris and Biden.
Bro, you're just playing Fox News with zero commentary. Like, who wants to see this respectfully? Can you hold on? It's been 1 minute and 39 seconds, ass. The fuck is wrong with you? Like, I already opened up by talking about how she's a charlatan right-wing grifter who's a Fox News contributor. God damn. Chatters say I pause too much. Now there's chatter saying I don't pause enough. Are you okay? Didn't Trump just say he thinks the Medal of Honor is worse than a billionaire donor? He loves the military. I mean, it doesn't matter. Trump says a bunch of shit about the military and the veterans and stuff, some of which is actually kind of cool. Okay?
Biden and their policies.
You know, Tulsi, a mother of one of the slain troops spoke out against Kamala Harris today. Take a listen.
Vice President Harris is now running to be commander-in-chief. I wonder, do you have a message for her?
You are with the whole administration in all of this. You hold the same accountability as President Biden does. You were right beside him in making these decisions. This administration has tried to sweep it under the rug, and that's absolutely not going to work for this.
Dude, what the? 13 of our best soldiers. 13 of our best soldiers were on the 3rd anniversary of the Kabul airport attack. Name 3 things you like about Trump. Easy, okay? Massive butt, okay? I love that he's thick as, okay? Straight up. Thickest ass, like, love that, okay? Number 2, he's kind of funny and zesty, okay? He's very telegenic. He's very zesty. And last but not least, number 3, bisexual, ace, aromantic visibility at the top of the ticket. Okay, this has never happened before. We've had gay presidents. We've had bi presidents. We've never had a president that is also technically ace and aromantic. Those are 3 massive reasons why I will be voting for Donald Trump. I can't even get myself to say it. Someone's going to clip that and be like, oh, he said it. Anyway, here's how Trump can still win. Brother, how did you not mention his nussy? He's ace and biromantic. Okay, sorry, you're right. He's asexual and biromantic, not aromantic.
Nation.
You know, Tulsi, your response to that?
You know, I want to know if Kamala Harris has personally called.
Where's that chatter? Chatter said, damn, you lost 10,000 people because you said, I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. Where is that chatter? Damn, you lost 10K viewers from not voting for Kamala. All you do is whine, says Sus Von Sant. Let me tell you something, okay? I lost 20,000 viewers when I said what Israel was doing was, if you think that, like, I'm going to moderate my opinions due to my viewership, welcome. That's not going to happen. So I don't know why you're in here trying to chirp at me instead of going back to the communities that you're at that were riding with Biden until the very last moment and then switched up and are now riding with Kamala Harris, who are not getting these numbers. Go help them out, okay? Go help them out. I don't know why you're in here. I'm sure the 10 Tulsi diehards really swung for this election cycle. Yeah, if liberals get mad at me because I criticize Kamala Harris when this is the most important election of our lifetime or whatever, then so be it. I want the Democratic fight against the Republican Party. If you don't want that, if you want them to capitulate, you know, have fun with that. Okay? I don't think my demands are unreasonable either. I moderate them, at least, not on what my idealistic solution is, but on, I literally moderate them to tune it to the American, like the broader American electorate's needs and demands. Okay? Like, I often will show you polling that demonstrates that some of these things that I think Kamala Harris should be doing is good for the election. It's not like these are things that are just beyond the pale that I'm advocating for, you know? The view count probably just don't consider this school also just started. No, the view count bump came from the DNC. It was just a huge thing, right? Like, obviously, a lot more people were locked in. You should rather say centrists instead of liberals. I mean, it's true. It is the centrists. You know? I'll just go back to the United Center so that I can make my own convention happen, so that I can get 60K people in here again. Is the viewership really that important to you? Did I not just tell you that what's more important to me than viewership is, you know, staying on message? I literally just told you that. Did you not hear that? Did you just hear what you wanted to hear? Is that what's going on? Seems like you're not listening. Sorry, I tabbed out. If I cared about viewership that much, I'd either be a liberal, staying the course with the Democratic Party, okay, or B, a right-wing grifter. Much easier to be a right-wing grifter than to be a left-wing commentator. It's part of the reason why so many of those supposedly centrist commentators oftentimes lean heavily right. There is a material benefit to gain from that. I'd rather have right wing than fake left. What? No, I would not rather have right wing. No, I would not have right wing at all. That's a bad sock account. I agree.
Called every one of these 13 families and the families of those who came home injured. There was a triple amputee there today, there to honor the loss of his brothers and sisters. Has she called them to apologize for the decision that they made that resulted in this disastrous withdrawal and an explosion and an attack that took these 13 service members' lives that was completely preventable? Kamala Harris is completely unfit to serve as our commander-in-chief. Voters, regardless of whether you're Democrats or Republicans, need to know that truth, because that's really what this election is about, Judge. It's not about Democrats versus Republicans. Right. It's about having a president who stands for freedom, peace, and prosperity, which is Donald Trump, versus having a president in Kamala Harris who attacks our freedoms and censors us and uses political retaliation, who has pushed us to the brink of, and who's created this economic hardship for Americans across the country. That's really the choice that we have before us. And for me, as a service member, as a veteran, it's a very clear choice. I love our country. I cherish peace and freedom, and I'm supporting Donald Trump in this election so that he can be our commander-in-chief once again.
You know, it's interesting, Tulsi. CNN today tried to...
I do like that she still tries to maintain this like grift, which is pretty funny. Holy shit, I didn't know Tulsi was so cucked. I was never a fan of her, but holy shit, I thought she has some integrity or morals. No, you must not have been paying attention. This is Tulsi Gabbard through and through. There was never a moment where she had any integrity. She was like, I'm against American imperialism. I think America is engaging in a lot of unnecessary. And then she literally went and worked with the CIA in Africa. Okay. Like, what are you talking about? She's always been this psychopathic, rabid Islamophobic grifter. She was also homophobic, too. Is there a particular reason you put your zins in the literal twin tower configurations? Like, why not just keep them in a box or something? Why are you asking so many goddamn questions, dude? Huh? Why are you asking these questions?
Attack Trump for attending the wreath ceremony. Take a listen.
Is he politicizing these soldiers' deaths? Should he even be at Arlington National Cemetery if he's going to make some politics out of this?
I just look at President Biden, under whose leadership we actually ended and made the tough decision to end our nation's longest. That was the right decision by President Biden.
You know, I guess the question, Tulsi, should have been, why wasn't Biden in attendance as well? But I want to ask you, just 4 years ago, you were one of many Democrats running against Donald Trump. Today, you endorse Trump. Why?
Like I said,
I think you're right. They're telegraphing that the Republicans' win condition is Israel or Iran, that we have to fight. A woman can't be a president, confirmed by a woman Democrat. No, they're saying that, but more importantly, they're saying Tulsi Gabbard has no base of support. Okay, she has no base of support whatsoever. But the minor base of support that she has, or the minor ways in which she's like been able to penetrate broader consciousness, is like the veteran who's okay. This basically goes along with that narrative that Trump is the pick. You couldn't be more wrong, dude. Nobody cares that she went with Bashar al-Assad. Okay. I am 100% right on this. People see her as the veteran, okay? It's not correct, but that's what I'm just telling you how people see him as, and you're sending me a link. Like, people don't give a shit about the 13 brave, best veterans that got in Afghanistan, but let me tell you how little people give a shit about Syria, okay? You're so foolish, dog. She was just doing civil affairs work for special operations. Why do you have to make it sound so insidious? Yeah, exactly. You know, just a little bit of civil affairs work in support of a special operations mission. That chatter is joking, okay? Calm down.